Hi all, my name is Davis and welcome back to my channel. And today we are going to be unboxing not one, but two PlayStation Vitas. Yep, it's no secret that portable PlayStations have always been among my favorite consoles. And with the OLED Nintendo Switch unboxing video coming very soon, there's no better time than now to take a look back at its spiritual predecessor, the PlayStation Vita. But with prices going through the roof lately, is it too late to buy a Vita? Well, let's find out. But before we do, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so yet. I've also been making a lot of videos on my TikTok account lately, so be sure to find me there. All the links are in the description. So the first one here is my new acquisition, and as you can see, it is the original model in crystal black. Now, while this is quite possibly the most unexceptional and boring Vita that you can possibly find today, it's probably the model that I would recommend looking into, as the OLED screen is far more vibrant than the later LCD screen that came with the slim revision that we'll be unboxing later, and also the black version is a lot more affordable on the used market than other colors like the white one and also the red one. So now let's take a look at the box. So on the front, as we can see, there is the black PlayStation Vita with the bubble-like interface on the front. On the sides, we've got very boring details, and then on the back, we've got a few diagrams. Firstly, it says there's new ways to play because obviously this was the first PlayStation console with both a touchscreen and also a rear touchpad, which I believe barely any games use. But not only that, it also had two analog sticks, which was very exciting. So the second box says stay connected, so this is the Wi-Fi version and not the 3G. I believe barely anyone bought the 3G version, so that is fine. And finally, it says superior gaming. Obviously, this is Uncharted over here, and it was one of the launch games, and also one of the only AAA titles that made it to this platform. Now let's open the box, shall we? So we've got this little tab down here, and it opens like so, and oh dear, it's kind of ugly, isn't it? This isn't like an Apple unboxing at all. So on the top it says, welcome to the world of PlayStation. Firstly, this is quite cheap feeling cardboard, so that's not fantastic. Under here we have some documentation. Let's see what it is. It's the official quick start guide. Oh, it opens up like an accordion. That's pretty cool, at least. And then we've got all of the fun instruction manual stuff. Wow. Underneath that, we have a USB cable, but it's not any micro USB cable that you might find, because it's not micro USB at all, because you got that on the 2000. On the 1000, you had this weird proprietary port that almost looks like a mini version of Apple's 30-pin connector. So that was quite annoying to use. I'm happy they got rid of this in the revision. Okay, so the next thing in the box is the AR cards, which is also something that you might be familiar with if you ever had a 3DS or a 2DS. Back in 2011, 2012, when this came out, everyone was somehow obsessed with AR cards. I'm not sure why, but essentially the idea was that you'd put these on a table like so, and you could play a variety of AR games, which were not very exciting, and also with the VGA cameras that were on the Vita, not very good at all. So let's just ignore these like what everyone else did. Okay, underneath that, we've got more instructions, but boring ones this time. So let's not look at that. And underneath that as well, we have warranty slips. I think this is fantastic. And that's basically it. So now that we've had a look at all of the boring accessories in the box, let's look at the console itself. And it comes in this quite hideous, actually, polystyrene bag. I don't think that Apple would be releasing their new iPhone in a bag like this one. But at least the console is inside, so now let's see. 3, 2, 1. Oh my god, look at that. Being a Vita, there is no screen protector on the front to peel away. But it feels like a quality piece of hardware. So instantly you can see that there is a 5-inch OLED touchscreen on the front, which is QHD, which is a quarter of the resolution of Full HD, which was actually pretty amazing for the time. If I recall, the 3DS was close to 240p or something like that, which was dreadful. On the front, we do have the dual analog sticks, which actually feel pretty good to me. They're small, but they feel good. And there's no issues of Joy-Con drift as well, which is nice. We've got a D-pad, which is lovely, unlike a Switch. And these face buttons as well feel quite good. On the original Vita, we did have the PlayStation button over here, which is quite oval shaped and small. And we've also got the select and start buttons over here, which were absolutely tiny. And the speaker grills over here. So on the top of the device, we have our volume buttons. These look like metal, but they clearly are not. Underneath the tab we have a mystery port. Yeah, this was a port that was deleted for the Slim revision because there were absolutely zero accessories that ever used it. I'm sure they had plans for it, but they never got around to it. Under the next flap is where you put your video games in. So the games came in cartridges and you just slot it over there. And this is the power button over here. There's a nice metally effect. And the trigger buttons, shoulder buttons I should say, they feel pretty good as well. On the bottom there's the serial number, which is fun, and the charging port and a headphone jack. And the serial number over here as well. I think that's the serial number. And under here, this is where you put in your memory cards. And the memory cards were quite terribly expensive. And some people say this is why the Vita failed, and they've got, you know, they're probably true. On the back of the device, we have a giant rear touchpad. They actually made this smaller on the Slim version. It's quite weird because you can't actually feel exactly where the edges of the touchpad are, and so it's a little bit difficult to use. And over here we have some little grips where you can put your fingers. It feels really nice to hold. So this Vita is 10 years old. Let's see if it turns on. Oh my god, it does turn on. So that was the PlayStation logo. Oh my god, look at that. It's you can't really tell that it's OLED from this screen, but it is quite vibrant. What is the date today? Well, it is it's 2021. It is August the 27th, I think. The scrolling's actually not the smoothest thing in the world, but for 2011, I think it's all right. And yes, to unlock the Vita, there was this little weird page turning animation, which was very, very iOS in 2011. It reminds me of iBooks. And there we go. This is the interface. Oh yes, with that menu music as well. That is very nostalgic. As we can see, the screen is incredibly vibrant, and it comes with apps like the PlayStation Store and also a web browser. And these are things that the Nintendo Switch doesn't have yet. And you've even got a messaging app. And my favorite thing probably with the Vita as well is the PlayStation 4 Remote Play compatibility, which goes through there and obviously won't work because we're not connected to anything. And the thing is with the Vita is that it's also got some multitasking capabilities. So we've got all of our open apps here, and you close them by just swiping them away like so. So that's all very cool. Okay, so now that we've had a look at the original console, let's take a look at my Vita Slim that I've hastily reboxed for this video. As you can see here though, is that it's not any Vita Slim, it's the Persona 4 Dancing All Night Premium Crazy Box Japanese Vita Console Edition that came out in 2015. Yep, and the box is as crazy as that name was. Instantly, we can see that it's a little bit more premium than the original normal box. Just look how much bigger it is. It definitely contains a lot more content. We've got this little plastic sleeve which just comes out like so. That's gone now. And underneath, oh, that's a spoiler. On the front we've got Teddy, who's a character from Persona 4. On the side it says P4D. Oh, look at that, that's very cool. And then on the other side it's the same. And on the top, we have the picture of the console. So as you can see here, it is very, very yellow. And also it says Wi-Fi over here. But by the time this came out, they had very much ditched the 3G version. Okay, so now let's open the box. 3, 2, 1. It's a bit stuck. There we go. So underneath there, we have the soundtrack CD, and I also believe the video game. So it says Persona 4 Dancing All Night, Crazy Value Pack. Yes, because the value for money was clearly fantastic. Underneath here it's a sleeve, and here comes the CD. I'm not sure what's in this, but it's some sort of card. I won't unbox that. And we've got the CD over here. It says Persona 4 Dancing All Night Original Soundtrack. A lot of people do love this, this soundtrack, and it's quite rare, so it's quite good that this contains a CD. Inside we have not one, but 2 discs of different colors, so that's very exciting. Also in this little sleeve is the game. Look at that. It's the Persona 4 Dancing All Night game. I've already downloaded this, so we won't be opening it. And on the back there is a lot of Japanese. So if you know how to read Japanese, this is great for you. Okay, so underneath this layer, there is some documentation. This is largely the same stuff that we saw with the original Vita, except it's all in Japanese now, which makes it even less interesting. And I do notice that this is now made of a thinner piece of paper, so cost cutting, I see. And finally under here, we've got the box for the actual Vita itself. It slides out of the outer box. And are we ready to see it? 3, 2, 1. And yeah, it looks just as cheap as the original Vita. So on the bottom, we do have, it's a micro USB cable now. It looks very generic and black. We've got a power cable. So this is how Japanese power cables look like, okay? And we've also got the power brick. Over here is the console in the same cheap polystyrene bag. And I believe that is all that's in the box. Okay, so are we ready to see the console? 3, 2, 1. And there we are. Instantly, it is a completely different experience to the original Vita. Not only is it this shocking yellow on the back, it is quite very extremely neon yellow. Matches the box quite perfectly, I must say. But on the front, we do have a white fascia, which is quite different to the original black one. Okay, so while the original Vita and the Slim do look quite similar, there are quite some noticeable changes. Firstly, it is a little bit thinner. As we can see, the original one is approximately 18 millimeters thick, and the Slim one is 3 millimeters thinner at 15 millimeters. But it actually feels a lot slimmer than that, because it's also around 41 grams lighter. So the original Vita feels actually quite hefty in the hand. It's quite chunky, but it's shaped in quite a comfortable way. The Vita Slim just feels a generation newer. It's just, it's so much lighter. But I would actually argue that it's a little bit harder to hold. There's just less of it to grip onto. The rear touchpad as well, we can see, is considerably smaller. So while these grips on the Slim are larger, the touchpad is smaller and also a little bit easier to tell the extremities of. And on the top, we can see that they did remove the second flap, and there's only one flap for video games. And also on the bottom, instead of the weird proprietary charging port, we have a micro USB one over here. So the original Vita had no internal storage, and the Vita Slim had 1 GB worth. So either way, you are going to need a separate, quite expensive proprietary memory card. And despite both of them having 2200 milliamp batteries, the original Vita does have worse battery life by around an hour. And apparently that might be because of the screen technology. Yeah, so obviously one of the biggest differences with the two Vitas is the screen technology. The original Vita has OLED, just like the new OLED Nintendo Switch, and the slightly newer one had an LCD screen which was slightly cheaper, but also afforded it a little bit more battery life. Currently I'm showing exactly the same screen, which is the Videos app, something that I've never actually used before. And we can see that the original Vita does have somewhat deeper colors. I'm not sure how well it is showing for you guys here, but the difference is quite stark. Not only that, but the viewing angles on the OLED Vita are also considerably better. As you can see, the original Vita is barely changing as I tilt the screen, but the new Slim one, it does fade a little bit as we tilt. I think it will also be quite fun to just go through the interface changes that they did for the Persona version at least. So as we saw on the original Vita, it's quite a boring interface. You've got the bubbles, but you know, it's very typical PlayStation. On the Persona Vita, on the other hand, they added the Persona Dancing All Night background, which is quite reminiscent of the back of the console itself. And all of the icons are also made to look very Persona-like. How adorable is that? And also there's an exclusive background song that they made specifically for this Vita. Want to hear it? Let's do that. And that basically is my PlayStation Vita unboxing video. If you enjoyed the video, then be sure to like and subscribe. That way you'll be notified when I finally create my Nintendo Switch OLED unboxing video when that comes out. Check out my TikTok too, as I will be uploading there quite regularly now. But until next time, toodaloo!